says you're right, Sarah. It seems like we just started the class. We kind of get settled in week 1 and week 2. And by week 3, everybody knows what's going on. It's no problem. And then week 4, and it's over. So that is how it feels, definitely. Oh, gotcha. Exactly, Sarah. This will it will fly by. And we've got Benita, who has one more class, right? Or is this your final class? You told me. There we go. Okay, so we've got so many people that are getting ready to extern. Stephanie Lawrence has been sending me messages. Oh, Benita, I'm sorry. Can you guys hear me okay? Can everybody else hear me okay? It's just your computer. Oh, I'm sorry. Sometimes that happens too. But, you know, with us doing the remote access for live lectures, sometimes the sound quality gets so poor. I'll notice it on the recordings sometimes that I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope they can understand what I'm saying. So hopefully this will work tonight. We've also got, let's see, Maria, you're getting ready to do your extern as well. And I spoke to Stephanie today, and I got to tell you, we're working on something for you that I think will work out better for you, especially since you have a baby on the way soon. So, Maria, I believe you're due, is it January 15th? And I'm sure it's just like any minute now, you could have a Christmas baby, even. My son was due on Christmas Eve, and my doctor said, you know, I've got 6 people that are due on Christmas Eve. I got in for my last checkup, and he said, how about next Tuesday? And I said, okay. So he induced, and it was great. That's okay, Lita. I'm sure you're ready, especially with your first. You're just ready for it to happen and see that beautiful face. That's right. So we have lots of exciting things going on. Is what's happening. Let me see our announcement. Of course, we're the final week. Please watch your due dates. All assignments are due Sunday by midnight. I graded, I think, 4 final papers already, so I have had several that have already turned that in. And that's great because that means you're almost done. Our live lectures, I sent out a message on this morning. Our live lectures are going to switch from Tuesday evenings to Thursday evenings. And, oh wait, Brittany was born December 17th, 2 weeks late. Oh no! And your brother was born December 27th, a few weeks early. That's funny. So my son wound up having a December 18th birthday. So you're just 1 day before him, then Brittany. December birthdays are awesome anyway. So I explained in the email, if you haven't checked your email. That's right, exactly, Sarah. It'll be about 30 minutes earlier. And I know it's not much of a help, but I thought it might be a little help. Yeah. Oh, great, Katrina. Oh, okay. And I knew for some people it may be worse for them, and some people it may be better. Just know that you can always watch the recording. Of course, I'll have the recording up by Friday, by the next day. I think having it on Thursday, I think will actually be better for us. You guys will have a little time to read, go over the material. you will have already posted your initial post to the discussion board. So you'll sort of be in the frame of mind for the week already too. And plus, we're bumping it up 30 minutes earlier because it's winter and it gets so dark and we get so tired so soon, right? So I think overall this may actually help us out. You took a nap today? Oh, thank you, Sarah. Super glad you're here. Glad you're here then. Oh, and Jasmine's back again. Oh no, Jasmine, you're being kicked off back and forth, aren't you? I've had some people say that it helps Jasmine to restart the computer. So if it keeps kicking you back out, you might try that. Just do a complete shutdown on your computer and do a restart. So maybe that will help. I'm going to tell you guys, I did something last week. I went ahead and upgraded to Windows 10. So I'm anxious to see what the recording is like for Blackboard. I'm wondering if Windows 10 will work better with Blackboard or worse. You never know. So I'm always looking for some upgrades that will help us out here. Okay, so live lectures from Tuesdays to Thursday. So this will actually be our last Tuesday lecture. And next week we will begin our next class, ECE 103, for some of you. At 8 p.m. on Thursday. So, also don't give up and don't let that grade drop in this final week. Week 4 can be so challenging because you've gotten 3/4 of the way there. You gave it your all in these first 3 weeks, and your last week you feel like, oh, I'm good, no problem. But missing one assignment or missing a due date can really make a difference in your grade. Especially with our holiday coming up. I know it's going to be hard to work everything, but please try to get things turned in and don't drop your grade in the final week. I've seen the same thing happen with high school students and junior high students too in that final week of the semester. You know, it's like it's over. They feel like they're done already. So we're not over yet. Keep going. Keep turning them in. You can do it, right? So tonight we're going to go over Chapter 4, just a little bit out there. Chapter 4, we're looking at some of the different curriculum models. And we've been talking about these a little bit each week. We've talked about our theorists, the theories that they came up with, the impact that they've had on early childhood education. We've talked about why we have early childhood education and the importance of it. So tonight we're going to talk about a few of the curriculum models, the major ones. Now I know some of you are Maria Montessori fans because I know I've seen at least one paper on her so far. A little bit about her philosophy. She believed in the sensitive periods where the mind of the child is more observant. She was very into sensory materials and objects. Concepts, practical life skills. She believed in having the environment prepared for what you were going to cover as opposed to just keeping it open-ended. And she was very into didactic materials, which is just basically teaching materials. So she carefully considered what went into her classroom. And here we have a picture of what would be considered an example of a Montessori classroom. So if you look around, you see some of her elements. You see it is neat and organized, Sarah, you're right. She's got carefully chosen materials. Let me get my pointer out here. Let's use the sunshine tonight. It's cold again. She has carefully chosen trays down here for specific purposes. She has plant life in the classroom, so she's brought nature in as well. So it's a very homey environment, but also well organized and prepared for the lessons that she's prepared to teach. Very nice. The next one is the Bank Street approach, developed by Lucy Sprague Mitchell. And very developmental interaction approach. She was very much into the children socializing with each other, socializing with the teacher. She really pushed the emphasis on play and the importance of play. She educated the whole child as opposed to just school topics or traditional teaching methods. She really wanted to touch a little bit of everything. And a very integrated curriculum, and she believed in mixed age groups. And I really love the mixed age group idea. We try to group kids by their age, and you've probably seen that there could be a drastic difference between, say, a child that's an early 3 and a late 3. There's a big difference in that 1 year. So sometimes it's better for that early 3 to be grouped with 2-year-olds, or that late 3 to be grouped with 4-year-olds. So I like the idea of being open and mixing children that are on several similar levels. You might also have the opposite. You might have a 5-year-old that would get along better with 3-year-olds as well. She also believed in a balance of teacher and student-led activities. So the teacher wasn't just park porters up there and telling them what they're going to do. The students were allowed to lead as well. So that's Main Street. And here is an example, Main Street classroom. This is one where, and you don't really see the classroom as much, but I like the concept of what you do see. So these children have their baker's hats on. They were taught a little bit about baking. They were able to set up their store to sell their goods. So they're learning about this real life approach. They're learning about making food. They're learning about making money. So it's nice and integrated there. Wouldn't that be fun? Next is the Reggio Emilia approach. And I know there's quite a few fans of this approach as well. I have to say, when I toured Tulsa Educare, the one that's by TU, there was a classroom that was set up with the Reggio Emilia approach. Now, even though they actually used the creative curriculum was their curriculum, this classroom used Reggio Emilia concepts, and it was beautiful, really amazing. So they have this image of the strong child. The environment is really part teacher, not just the teacher. It's what all their surroundings. They developed 100 languages of children. They believe strongly in relationships, long-term projects based on the children's interests, so the child getting to decide things that they're interested in, and not something that's going to take 10 minutes to complete long-term. And also documenting what's going on. Most of the classrooms have some type of documentation that we follow. Here's a picture of a Reggio Emilia classroom. Now, one thing about them is that they're really not big on overheadlining. They're really big on setting the mood for the classroom and keeping it relaxing. And if you look around in this classroom, you'll see lots of different types of light sources. So there's lamps, there's overhead fluorescent here. We've got, I think that's another type of lamp as well. They typically use a lot of the shadow boxes. You've got water and sand in here. They're really big at pulling in nature, displays and plants. So I think this would be a great classroom to teach out of. And that's exactly how the classroom was set up at the Tulsa Educare. She had plants all in the classroom. She had hanging art, pictures of the children, really great. Okay, the Waldorf approach, pedagogy based off the philosophy of Rudolf Steiner, is really, really big on imagination and creativity. So if you have a child that's a little artist, this would be a fantastic classroom for them to be in. Arts and crafts of all kinds. gardening, crafts, nature, Oh, yeah, that'd be great, Sarah, exactly. Another thing, the EduCare classrooms had more little gardens as well. Each classroom had a garden. I thought that was great. And of course, you'd have to have chickens too, right? You know, last week I missed bringing Autumn in, and I'm sorry. I have to get this caught back up in January to bring Autumn on for our third week class. And tadpole and coach, yes. Integrated curriculum, practical aesthetics, intellectual approach, very big on daily and annual rhythms, so they have a sequence to everything. Emphasis on play activity in the early years, and also attention to the spiritual dimension, which is an added bonus there with the Waldorf. And here we have a Waldorf classroom, and I want you to look at these great little desks. So the students have, it looks like little beanbags that they sit on. So you don't have traditional chairs. And each table is kid height and kid size. And each child has their own arts and crafts material. So as I said, the Waldorf classrooms, they really emphasize arts and crafts. So they're working on a little project. The teacher has probably demonstrated a little bit of it, and now the children are reviewing it. But I like this little setup for arts and crafts. I think that would be so neat and relaxing. And each kid has space, is what I like too. They're not right across the table from somebody else. They have their own little section of the table. So you gotta have that space. Okay, next is the HighScope approach. Active learning, plan, do, review is kind of part of the HighScope, where the children get to plan what they're going to do. Then they do it, and then the child and the teacher go back together and talk about how things went. Did their project work out well? Are there things that they'd like to change about it next time? So it's not just that the child's getting to lead their activity, but it's also that they're getting to review it as well, because we learn from everything we do. Exactly. Oh, and learning about cultures. Exactly, Sarah. That'd be great. Oh, you did, Lita, a video off Pinterest that was on Wonderful. I'm going to have to look for that. Now, this is considered, HighScope is considered a more of a traditional method with observations, key experiences, although the big difference is the plan, do, review. And here's an example of a HighScope classroom. You're probably, this one probably looks really familiar. It looks like a lot of early childhood classrooms that you walked into. Right, Sarah? You've got primary colors. It's a lot more brighter than the previous ones that we saw. It's very organized, however, and HighScope is set up with separate learning centers. So over here we have the blocks, and each of the little bins, you've got activities as well. Looks like some type of marble game over here, or a water game that's set up. And here's the cars, and they're all in a row. So this is traditional. It's very academic, very into process. Blocks are always fun. That's right. So you can see where I'm kind of headed here, right? We've gone into the more creative approaches, the different approaches, and now we're going into the more traditional. So from a HighScope, we hop into a little, in fact, this is kind of a wonderful comparison chart, and I wish the print was bigger. But this is a great way to examine some of the similarities and differences in HighScope, Montessori, Waldorf, and Reggio Emilia. So HighScope, you have pretend area, block area, manipulative sensory area, and a cozy area. And doesn't that sound like a traditional ECE classroom? Then Montessori, you've got more practical life, sensorial language, mathematics, geography, cultural studies, and natural materials. Waldorf, home-like environment with an emphasis on natural materials. So if you are a nature buff, Waldorf would be a great one for you. Nature and art. And then Reggio, indoor plants, emphasis on natural light, open spaces, mirrors. They like to use mirrors a lot in the Reggio classrooms so that the child can see themselves playing or doing whatever they're doing, if it's drawing, if it's arranging blocks. But they do believe in that reflection and learning from that. Kitchens, mirrors, lots of photographs of the children themselves and lots of artwork. This is something that I thought was really interesting. And again, I won't go through each of these, but let's take a comparison. High Scope daily routine starts with plan, do, review, so the child gets to decide what they're doing. Then they have small group time, large group time, outdoor gross motor time, transition, eating, resting, recall, talking about what they did through the morning, assessment by observation, and anecdotes by the teacher. So very traditional. If we go over to Waldorf daily routine, we have outdoor play and nature walk, followed by creative play, eating, and then resting. So very, very nice and day there as far as their principles go. So this is a great chart. Let's go on, though, to the creative curriculum. This is the last one we're going to talk about. And those of you that already work in ECE, in some type of ECE center, tell me, do you use creative curriculum? Because so many in our area do. This is kind of the big one that most of them use. Do any of you guys use creative curriculum already? I think Educare does. I think Pullman Cap does. And it's not that they use creative curriculum as their sole form of curriculum. It's just that it is the basis. And then sometimes they use others as well, sort of mix them there. So anybody? I got anybody using it? No? Well, whenever you ask around, whenever you start going to ECE centers, it's a good idea to ask them, hey, what curriculum do you use? And that will tell them a little bit about, or tell you a little bit about their philosophy of how to educate a young child. So creative curriculum is learning environment and interest centers, which is basically the same thing as learning centers that we set up. Careful observation by the teacher, so we're noting how they're doing. It's a developmental continuum that's set up with the natural development of the child. They're very big on partnerships with families, as we talked about in our last class, and they're very common in our area. So let's look at an example of a creative curriculum classroom. We have centers, we have nice bright primary colors, and you know the reason I chose this picture is because I love that rug. I really feel like I need that rug in my life. It's just beautiful. We've got the alphabet, we have numbers, the sunshine in the middle, and it wouldn't go in my living room at all, but I love it. I'll put the sunshine on there. So you've got the little table for teacher feedback, storage bin areas. We've got some type of dramatic play in the corner, an aquarium, a writing area, and a block area. So this is what we see most common. Now, isn't it interesting, though? Your son's classroom was like that? Exactly, Lita. So, and it looks like a typical school classroom, doesn't it? All the elements. So, isn't it interesting that, and creative curriculum is great, don't get me wrong, though, but isn't it interesting that we've talked about all these other types of curriculum, the Reggio, Emilia, Waldorf, and how much emphasis they place on arts and crafts and creativity and the things that we really want to see our children doing. Isn't that sort of how you picture your young kiddo, that 2-year-old, the 3-year-old, the 4-year-old, being in that type of a classroom. So I think what we're going to see is more of a switch to that approach again, that we're going to move away from the more academic approach in ECE, and I hope that we see more creativity come back into it. And you guys will be the ones making that difference, making that change when possible to help bring that into kiddos' lives. So, oh my goodness, it's 9 o'clock, and we're to our final slide. Do you guys have any questions for this week? I have a lot of people that have done great with posting to the discussion board already. 10 o'clock for Sarah, that's right. You took a nap and now you're awake and you're going to have to do something else, Sarah. Wide awake. So this is our final week. Sunday is our last day of class. ECE 103 will start on Monday. Oh, great. Sounds perfect, Sarah. There you go. There you go. Mine will be up late because we're junior high and high school, and we're on Christmas break now. So that's right. So next week we'll start the change of lecture night. It will be on Thursday night instead of Tuesday. Exactly. So don't anybody show up next Tuesday. You'll be the only one here and going, why isn't Mrs. Snell here? That's good, Sarah. It makes things much easier. That's right. Keep them on that regular schedule. All right. Well, if you guys are done, you can head on out of here. I hope you have a wonderful Christmas, and I will see you next week. And please call or email if you have any questions this week. I may not be on the computer as much on Christmas Eve and on Christmas as well, but I will be checking my messages, so I'll get back with you, okay? Why does it say all the Pinterest assignments are all due in December? I have no idea, Lita. Was that on the course page, or was that in an email I sent?